Hi, everyone, and welcome to another fantastic presentation. And I'm here joined by Dawn Campbell, who is an amazing human being, and she cannot wait to share with you her knowledge and expertise that she gathered in over 20 years of coaching. She actually was a sales director many years ago in a galaxy far, far away, but over 20 years ago, she became a coach, and she has a unique niche that she is focusing on. Throughout her career, she wrote close to 15 books on coaching, and she loves food, she loves dogs, she told me that. She loves traveling, of course, and she has successfully merged her passion for holistic health in a tangible way that educates, entertains, encourages, and empowers fellow health seekers. She's among many other things, she's a Nordic Walking instructor. I want to know what that is, because I don't know what it is. Mindfulness meditation guide and practices, paying it forward, so is a lifelong volunteer. She's also a qualified living foods and living in life science practitioner, a Heal Your Life teacher based on the Louise Hay philosophy, and a Callahan trained thought field therapist, tapping basically, meaning she can offer her clients pick and mix menu of support services. She's also the business director of the International Authority for Professional Coaching and Mentoring, IAPC&M, an organization she has supported for over a decade. Her mission is to inspire others to live the life they love and love the life they live. And coaching is one of the professions for achieving that goal. So today, we're super happy because she is going to present on why your professional accreditation status matters to your clients. Dawn, thank you so much for saying yes to our invitation.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm happy to be asked. So let me just share my screen, Eugene, and I will get started with a presentation I've prepared especially for you.
Amazing,
okay,
thank you.
So I presume you can see my screen now.
Yes.
So the popular, who are we? I would say that we're the leading accreditation body for coaches, mentors, training providers, universities, and corporate in-house programs worldwide. So we have helped literally thousands of practitioners, just like you, coaches, to upscale their businesses around the world using our global platforms, obviously to have a thriving practice, make more money, and make a positive difference in this industry. So that's who we are and why you should choose the IAPC&M when you're looking at accreditation bodies to accredit you. So those are some of the popular questions that I get asked. The other one is, what is the difference between accreditation and certification in the first place? Because let's face it, we're working in an unregulated market, Eugene. And if you've just come out of an accreditation, academy, you've got your certificate, say on Friday night, possibly with a distinction. Monday morning, it's what do I do with it? How do I grow my business? And one of the things that the public are increasingly asking for is, are you accredited? So are you properly trained? Are you insured if your country offers it? Are you accredited? Are you an expert? How can you demonstrate that you're an expert in your field? And accreditation is one of those ways that you can do that. So accreditation is one stage higher than certification. And by definition, it's done by an independent third party.
What about, I have to ask this question. I don't have to, but I would like to ask this question at this point. What about accredited certification?
Well, what I would say is that's a good question, because all our training providers who are accredited are offering accredited certified courses, but it doesn't make the individual accredited. It just means that you've attended a certified course that is accredited by an independent third party. So we have an international directory of training providers, and they are offering accredited certified training. Doesn't make all the students who have been through that course accredited in their own right, because you don't
training
mark
or
your
the school is accredited, not the student.
Yes, the school is accredited or the course is accredited. It's not always both. A school is accredited by definition if they have more than one course accredited. Then we've got organizations who only have one course accredited. But, you know, if you think about it, you don't put Dracula in charge of the blood bank, do you? So you don't have somebody mark their own homework. That's why we see in the airport #1 bestseller on every book when you go past the news agents, because it's very easy for you to say that, but it's kind of meaningless. Whereas if you've gone through an independent third party, you've got that gravitas that somebody independent who is a professional just at doing that has assessed you across an industry standard. Whereas when you come out of a accredited certified program, or even just a certified program, you're only being assessed against that body of people.
Yeah.
Whereas accreditation
Understood.
means it's industry wide. Okay. So to take the students and the coaches who are going to be watching this wonderful summit is, you know, what is your journey to the next stage? You want to either train as a coach, or you are training as a coach, or you've graduated as a coach. So this presentation is about what's your journey, what happens next. And accreditation is a very important part of that. Because let's face it, Eugene, you know, we're in a time of a very noisy digital space. How do you stand out in a very crowded market? And accreditation is one of those things that sets you apart as an expert.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the IAPC&M has 4 levels of accreditation. So you either have the newbie practitioner level, I've just become certified, or you've got some experience. Normally over the next 18 months, you become a senior, and then you move up to a master, and it's all hours based, as you can see. 60 hours for a practitioner, 750 hours for a senior, 1,500 for a master, and anything over and above 2,500 for a fellow. And we've got 2 routes, which is through the accredited training provider that you mentioned, or you come through the portfolio route, i.e. we don't know who you trained with, or you didn't train with anybody official. It could have been you went on some in-house programs in your corporate life. Because our accreditation process is inclusive, we allow people who have not got any formal coach training to come through accreditation, because we're capabilities based. Okay, so those are the 4 routes. Application process, you know, in this 21st century, we're a paperless office. Everything is automated, or as much as possible. It's quick and easy. You go online, you look at the hours that you've logged on your log. Hopefully you've got a log, and if you haven't, you can download one on the IAPC&M website, and then you just pick the page that is relevant to you, where it says apply here, apply here, apply here, and then you just pick the level and you pay. Once you've paid, yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, so for instance, of all the different types of, you know, let me change that. Why is accreditation important?
Well, as I said at the beginning, accreditation is important because your clients are increasingly looking for it. So if you want to work in education, most people will say they want to have your accreditation and your insurance to protect the students that you're going to be working with. Increasingly, the public sector is asking the same question. So even though it's an unregulated market, and even though you go through accreditation from a voluntary point of view, it is saying I'm a best-in-class practitioner. I am an expert. I have been assessed right across the industry, not just my training academy. And therefore, I belong to a registered body of practitioners that you can go to in the event that there's a complaint or something that you're not happy about, and they will mediate and help us resolve it. So it's just the same as therapists, accountants, driving instructors. You know, they're all part of national registered bodies, and the coaching industry shouldn't be any different, but it is. And people just assume everybody is accredited when they're not. So increasingly, coaches are putting themselves through this to say, I am a best-in-class practitioner.
So accreditation from this perspective, at least from this perspective, is kind of like it is both a stamp of quality as much as is also a stamp of trust, so to speak, that, you know, this is, you know, a valuable training. This person has valuable knowledge and information. and they can, I have the certitude, so to speak, that they can deliver the goods for me, and I'm not kind of like, lost in the dark because somebody came up with some strange idea of some sort of technique, but they actually are, having control over the information they have, and of the way they use that information and those methods and protocols that they've learned in the training to help me achieve my goals.
Exactly. It's about being able to demonstrate that you've got the capability to deliver what you say you're going to deliver, and that you've backed it up with having your training, your certificates authenticated, your experience validated, and going through an assessment call. So it's about having being proud of your industry. It's about caring for your client, that you've signed up to a code of professional conduct. It's all of those things, yes.
Awesome. And from your experience, is this something that is more, this might sound weird or strange, but it doesn't matter. I'm okay with that. Is this something more coveted by clients or by coaches themselves?
Yeah, I think originally, Eugene, it was the coaches themselves who recognized being in an unregulated industry, they ought to step up and do something and be accountable. But increasingly, because of the work that we've been doing since 1998 about educating the public to do their due diligence and look after themselves, their hard-earned cash and their mental well-being, increasingly now what we're seeing is the public are asking, are you properly trained? Are you insured? Are you accredited? Who by? And that's when we start to find we've had coaches come to us in the last 2 years who have been on what you would call an accredited certified course, not through us. And they've said, hang about. So the company who certified you also accredited their own course. How does that work? Because it's always got to be by somebody independent for it to be meaningful.
Yeah, conflict of interest.
So, exactly, conflict of interest. So what I would say is that the public are becoming increasingly sophisticated in their selection process.
Got it. So, how, what are some of the important, prerequisites or steps that one needs to take in order to become, clearly, officially accredited or clearly certified, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, once they've paid for the level that they want to, they get an email from David Monroe-Jones, head of accreditation, who's also my fellow director, and it lists the criteria, which is also stipulated on the website when they press view criteria and apply here. And it's the same for every level, but it goes deeper and deeper for level. So at the practitioner level, all we want is your certificates, your coaching log. You don't need testimonials because we know that you've just come out of your academy and you probably don't have any clients, and therefore your coaching log doesn't have to be paid clients. But as you move up the ladder, we increase the number of paid for clients, we increase the testimonials, and so on. But nowhere in any of that do you have to do, which is what we used to do when we were competencies based. You don't have to do essays. The only time you have to do a piece of work is after your assessment calls. And that is, how did the call go? What would you have done differently? What did you learn from it? Part of your CPD. Now, of course, if you apply at fellow level, which is usually by invitation only to become a fellow of an institute, and that's what we invite most of the training providers to apply for, they then do a small body of work in terms of what have they done to pay it forward and make a contribution to the industry. And normally that's around the course or the book that they've written. So because we're capabilities based rather than competencies based, we are all focused on the capability to deliver what you say you can deliver. Because let's face it, Eugene, if we were competencies based and we asked for a thesis on the methodology of coaching, somebody could be great at writing that if they were an academic, but when it comes to the delivery, they could be very poor. So 4 or 5 years ago, we moved over to the capabilities model, and we find not only is it much more accurate way of assessing a coach's abilities, but it is also much more inclusive. So for those who aren't academic, for those who have what we call superpowers, you know, they're ADHD, they're dyslexic, etc., it doesn't affect their ability to be a great coach, but it does affect their ability perhaps to sit down and write a thesis. So we don't need any of that. It doesn't prove anything. So that's all in the evidence portfolio, along with a standards and ethics questionnaire and signing our code of conduct, delivering your complaints procedure in your contract. So we've got all of that. So there's a standard that all the coaches are working from the same set of standards.
Awesome.
And that's all explained. And then to help people get through their assessment, you know, we don't want to do it with one arm tied behind their back. We want to support them through it. So David and I, with some other master coaches, we had a great deal of fun about 2 years ago, breaking down every element of the assessment call. What are we looking for when we're assessing the coach's ability to deliver a coaching session? And we came up with these 11 steps. We recorded a masterclass for every single one. So it's kind of funny that to get through a 30-minute assessment call as a newbie practitioner, they listen to 11 hours worth of CPD. But the feedback we get is amazing. They say quite often, if I'd learned that, what I've learned in 11 hours on my 1 year coaching program or whatever, I was just blown away. Some of our training providers use this material, and master coaches have said it's been a fantastic refresher. So we really hold the person's hand all the way through the process. We're not there to trick somebody. We want to support them and to help them elevate their ability and their skills in the industry.
Awesome.
So as I say, they have a live assessment call. It could be 30 minutes if you're a practitioner, 40 minutes if you're a senior, 50 if you're a master, an hour if you're a fellow, and so on. But only seniors and above also have a capability business interview. I'm not going to explain the model behind that. I'm not the best person to do that. But as I say, it's capabilities based. And I think the fact that it's capabilities, the fact that we have these masterclasses, and the fact that we explain the criteria in the evidence portfolio, it means everybody goes, oh, phew, we've taken a little bit of the scariness away from being assessed. And that's why increasingly coaches are putting themselves through that. And what they say afterwards, Eugene, is, wow, that was, you know, a bit of a challenge. I had to put myself through it. I needed, you know, some tapping or whatever to go through the assessment, because nobody likes being assessed, let's face it. But what a massive boost to the confidence when they've done it. The feedback we get is brilliant. Our assessors are amazing. They're so knowledgeable, so well read, that they're able to give them a huge amount of information that helps them develop themselves and fill the gaps as part of their ongoing CPD. So I think that's invaluable.
Absolutely.
And then they get their certificate and their logo. So, you know, it's time to start celebrating their other achievements. So let me just go back to one of your questions, Eugene, about going on an accredited certified course. When you go on one of our accredited training providers, you'll get this certificate, and it will say on there that you have attended an accredited foundation course or diploma course or degree course, or this is their personal accreditation. So that goes with their training certificates, and they get the logo as well. So then they get invited to upload their profile into the international directory, either as an individual and or as a training provider, because that's where we're driving traffic all the time, Eugene. Now, if you're a new practitioner and you've just spent X number of thousands on your training course, and you've become insured and you've become accredited, you might not have any money left in the pot to create a website, and that's fine, because your directory profile is your shop window. You don't need to spend any more money. It will do everything for you except the cash cart, the shopping cart. So you can upload videos, testimonials, offers, blah, 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 and edit it as and when you wish. So that is a bit of a USP, that you just don't need a website. And of course, we're driving traffic there all the time. And that's where the public go when they're either looking to choose a coach or mentor or a training provider. So they can download those guides, which will help them make their choices.
Yeah.
And then there's all the
So
celebration on
basically,
social media.
so basically, when I get certified by an international, by an unbiased company like yourself, right?
Well, you get accredited by us, not certified.
Yeah, accredited. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. My bad.
That's okay.
So getting accredited by a certifying accreditation body like
Yes.
the one you have. I'm sorry. Then not only do I get that accreditation, but I also am going to have, like you mentioned, my own website where I can actually have, I don't know, courses or social profiles. Can I sell stuff?
Yes.
Can you give more details about the benefits of that?
Yeah, as I say, you don't have to go and have a website because you might not have any money left for a website.
Yeah.
So you go and create your profile on here, and you can upload as much or as little information as you want. Your photograph, your logo, your book if you've got one, testimonials, any videos, any offers, etc. That is your shop window. It will do everything for you apart from the shopping cart.
Yeah.
So it's pretty invaluable because we're obviously doing all the marketing, driving traffic to that. And if the public are looking for coaches to hire or training providers to find.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Awesome.
worth a lot on its own. Plus, these guides are being downloaded all the time, Eugene, by people who are either looking for a coach or looking for a training provider. And then it's reinforcing the fact that, do your due diligence, ask the same amount of questions that you would ask if you're booking a holiday or buying a house or a Prada handbag or whatever. Don't just pick a coach because they sound good or whatever. This is a proper business transaction, and these guides will help you choose the right person for you. So then, as I say, we've got all the celebrations on social media, and everything that we do for everybody is linked back to their directory profile. So if the lovely patients wrote us a blog, or Eric offered us a chapter of his book, or was on the podcast, or as part of our authors series, or anything at all, it always goes back to their directory profile page. So everything that they do thereafter, we're driving traffic to their individual page, not just the directory as a whole. But it starts with the congratulations and the rah-rah. Okay, I think we've already answered this question, why your accreditation status matters. This is about being proud of your industry. It's about protecting your client, and it's about making a difference and signing up to a professional, independent, international organization that says, I have been authenticated, validated, and assessed as a best-in-class practitioner. It gives that reassurance to the client. Maybe I need to put that slide in a much higher place after I've spoken to you today, because that's earlier questions. In terms of return on investment, this is another big question. So apart from my accreditation, what do I get? Well, I kind of think, well, what else do you need? Because your accreditation is huge. It's worth a lot. But we recognized 4 or 5 years ago, Eugene, there was a gap in the market, and that was to do with business acumen. People were coming out of their academies, maybe with a distinction, but they lacked the business acumen to get a return on their investment. So they might be a great coach, but because somebody had mysteriously put a salary into their bank every month, now they were having to say, can you pay me, please? I've got to raise invoices, etc., etc. We found when we did a survey, people are just not comfortable with this. And we've realized this gap in the market was something that we could help with. So we have tirelessly worked for the last 4 years, offering a massive amount of return on investment that plugs that gap. So we don't step on the toes of the training providers. They provide the coach training. We're providing the business acumen, and it's all complementary. So it starts with a guide on navigating the website and some of the things that they can do for themselves. So not only uploading their international directory profile, but how do you start to create a presence online? So that probably takes somebody about a month if they do a couple of things a day, working through that. But behind the scenes, there is so much more. This is where the magic happens, really, the secure members area. So whether somebody signs up at the beginning of their training career, or they wait until the end and they've got their certificate. It really doesn't matter. They benefit immediately. And that means that it can build their business while they're studying. So we increasingly get a lot of students, Eugene, who will say, can I apply for my accreditation now? And we say, well, you can and you can't. You won't become accredited until you're signed off by your training company, but you can apply and be a member and benefit. So if you've got the time to build your business while you're studying, we've got lots to offer you. So increasingly they do. And the areas that they particularly like are the resources and the solution partners, because in the resources section, they can download things like legally proved contract templates, complaints procedures, policies for websites if they want to have a website. Basically, every single piece of documentation they need to set up their business when they come to open up on Monday morning and say, hey, world, hire me. They can get everything from the resources section. There's a huge amount in the education section, which I'll come to. But the solution partners, if I pick on that, is an area where they can get all their discounts. So if I click on solution partners, this is what I'm going to see. You know, do I want an assessment? If I'm a corporate coach, I might want profiling and assessments, or I might want some bookkeeping or supervision, or I might want coaching tools. So when I then click on any of those, I'm going to see a whole array of companies who are offering our members massive discounts. So do I want to have my own radio station? Do I want a bookkeeper? Do I want mental health first aid? Do I want to be in more than one directory? So if we've had a good service from any of these suppliers, we've said, give us a big discount and we'll promote you to our members. So this is just another way that our members can grow their business and raise their profile on our platforms. And now we come to the CPD, which is really, really important and ongoing. We're passionate about CPD and we don't charge for any of it. I'm not going to go into this slide too much, Eugene, but I just wanted to highlight it to say that we have a massive amount of masterclasses on this area. You know, you're a new practitioner, you've opened the doors and say, hey, world, hire me. What do I do? And what I hear from student and graduate coaches is, it's 3 months since I graduated and I haven't got a client yet. What do I do? Well, are you doing any of these things? Are you being the salesperson? Are you being the marketeer? Are you being the networker? Are you looking for joint ventures? You know, there's lots of things you can do while you're what I call waiting actively. And of course, this is laying down the foundations, isn't it? Anybody who's been in business like you and me for a couple of years knows that what you do in those formative years sets the scene for later on. So it's about creating systems, about creating structure, getting testimonials, etc., etc. It's all best practice. And we have masses of masterclasses from people who look like overnight successes, you know, great coaches, solopreneurs, authors, and they have shared what they did in the early stages to make it look so effortless. There was a lot of hard work that went on behind the scenes. So I don't know if you've got anything to comment on that, Eugene, because obviously you're one of those people.
No, I mean, you have so many things. Sometimes for some people, actually, it can be even too much, because it's like, you know, where do I start? You know, it's kind of overwhelming having so many different ways of going. I don't even know where to start. And then return on investment. What do I focus on first? You know, what should I do now? What should I do later? What do you think from your experience after somebody gets accredited? Somebody takes the training, right? Yeah. So once you have finished the training as a coach, for instance, then what should then people do?
That's a great question.
I finished my coaching training. I get a diploma certification from this school. Now I want to become, let's say, accredited by an independent body, which can be yours, or it can be, of course, anything else. So what do I do then? Okay, become accredited, and then what? It's like, you know, do I go and do videos? Do I go and write blogs? Do I go and make partnerships? Do I go and get more accreditation?
Exactly.
You know, what do I do?
Right. Well, the first thing I would say to our members, and we do have a plan and we have a structure for them to help them so they don't feel so overwhelmed, because we recognize it's a very, very big question, Eugene. What do I do now? So we put together a 12-month, 12 modular business building program. It's complementary, it's self-teach, but it takes them exactly through the structure. Right, I qualified on Friday, Monday morning, I want to set up a business. How do I do it? So it's how do I create my niche? How do I create my planning, my business plan? How do I look at and decide my pricing structure? How do I create a marketing plan, and so on? It's all in there. So there's written material, there's videos, there's masterclasses, and there's also a monthly Q&A clinic. So you would go to the founder of this program on the third Monday of every month and ask your questions. So we couldn't make it more simpler. We've broken it down into bite-sized chunks so that you don't have to become overwhelmed, and you can take a whole year to go through it.
Understood.
Okay?
Understood.
So just to share with you what some of the practitioners have achieved, and I highlight these two wonderful ladies because they are less than a year since they graduated as coaches and became accredited. They went on my personal course, which is about writing a 90-page book in 90 days. So they wrote their book. And Julia here has just had a big European book signing tour in Switzerland. That's where she's based. And then we've got Eileen, who's Turkish, living in the UK. They both have got, I think they're both on their third books now. They've got workbooks, they've got apps. Having written a book, and I said to you that, you know, in the formative years, what do you do while you're waiting actively? You start writing, you start networking, etc. So that is the start of your book. It doesn't even have to be a long book. In fact, the shorter the better. You know, we've got attention spans of 9 seconds now, less than a goldfish, scientifically proven. So, you know, write 90 pages in 90 days. It only takes 12.5 minutes to type a page. So you can fit that into it. And if you handwrite it, it's 30 minutes. So write a page a day. In 3 months, you've got a book. You can break that down into bite-sized chunks. You've got chapters, you've got e-guides, you've got reports, lots of things that you can put on social media when you think we've got 13 touch points before somebody's going to buy a higher ticket item. So look what these two wonderful ladies have achieved in less than a year. You look at them and you think, wow, they're experts. So they've written books, they've created apps. And because they've written a book, they now have a signature program. It means they've got a signature speech. It means they've got a workshop. They've had their signature program accredited in its own right. So for Eileen, who's a perfectionist coach, I mean, they were experts in their own field before they became coaches. She's a psychotherapist, etc. You know, if I looked at her perfectionist program and somebody else's, I can see not only is she an accredited coach and mentor, but she's also got her program accredited and she's got a published book. So who am I going to choose when I'm looking at two in the market? So these ladies have done a phenomenal job in less than a year in the market. And they started by working, you know, through this program and sorry, I'm going backwards now, and going through the Business of Coaching Q&A program. They were like sponges. They soaked everything up that we had to offer, and that's what they've achieved. And they're formidable ladies. So in terms of return on investment, what else do we offer? We offer free supervision first Sunday of every month. This is for our coaches who are working in the education field, so children and adolescents. That's absolutely invaluable. We'd like to think that all coaches will either have a supervisor, a mentor, or a coach. It's recommended, but not mandatory. We have our own book review club. So many great books out there, Eugene, so little time to read them all. So we have a team of volunteers who review books. And if if the author wants to be interviewed as well, they can be added to our authors interview series. So it means that we can read more books in less time just by reading the reviews. Of course, if we love the book, then we go and buy it on Amazon. And one of our own initiatives, bearing in mind we recognize a lot of authors and a lot of members need and want to be authors, again, to help them stand out in a crowded market. We're always looking for that differentiator, is write a book. So we had about 80 coaches who applied to write a book. I project managed it. I found a publisher, I found an editor, and now 7 of them are what I call the Magnificent 7. They produced this wonderful heart-led business handbook on how to win and perhaps more importantly keep clients. We know it costs 10 times more to find new clients, whereas if you just keep your existing clients happy, and you need a CRM system for that, you know, it's much easier. And this book really explains from a heartfelt point of view how to do that. It's not ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. It's about relationships, not transactions.
Beautiful.
Oh, so I'm going the wrong way again. And this is our pipeline, Coach Yourself blog, because there's a lot of people out there, Eugene, who still don't understand what coaching is, what it offers, how to do it. And of course, some will say they can't afford coaching. So we set up a blog called Coach Yourself, and it's a pipeline. So our members write for this. And then if I was going as far as I could, say, as a weight loss coach or a career coach, and people reading that had gone as far as they could on their own, they're right, okay, I'm now ready to hire Dawn. I've got used to her. I like her results orientated blogs or videos on Coach Your Blog. I'm going to go to the IAPC&M directory and hire her. So that's just a pipeline that we have. Offer a huge amount of one-to-one support, mainly through David and I. I know you're meeting David at another time for this wonderful summit, so you'll hear more. But David's a supervisor. I do coaching and support. And then all of this CPD and return on investment kind of culminates into this fabulous international week-long event that we have every year, first week of May. And funnily enough, next year is the 25th anniversary, not just of ourselves, but also of ICW, International Coaching Week. And we have some amazing speakers, some pioneers from the industry who've been here for 20 years, not just in the UK, but all over the world. So that's a free CPD event, and thousands of people, not just coaches, but thousands of people come online and attend this event that we run every single year. This year, it was all about how to become an author. Next year, it's how to business from a spiritual point of view in terms of how can I make a difference today? So that's the slant that we're giving it next year. We have a podcast, so some PR, because we interview the coach and mentor as well as the client. So clients listen to this, and think, I didn't know I could be coached on that. That's really interesting. So it's a nice little bit of PR for the practitioners. We have an affiliation program because we believe if you're proud of your industry and you're proud of your association, your accreditation body, then if you introduce half a dozen people a year, you will never have to pay another annual renewal fee. So that's a thank you for that. And when members who are members of more than one accreditation body tell us that we are the most caring, sharing, practical, hands-on resource available, then, you know, that's who you should believe when you're looking for your accreditation bodies. What is it that the members are saying? I haven't worked for anybody else, so I can't speak for anybody else, but we are a very caring, sharing, family type community, very supportive. And that's about it. So to sum up in terms of what Gandhi said, your future depends on what you do today. And if you don't do it today, you'll wish you had. It's a bit like I waited until I was a master coach to write my first book. And, you know, it only dawned on me when I was at an event looking at everybody on the stage, all the speakers, what is the common denominator between them all? Because none of them were very experienced or had been in business a long time. They had all written a book, Eugene. So what I'd say is don't wait until you're a master coach to write your book. Do it now. Start now. And the same goes for your accreditation.
So writing a book right after you finished your coaching training, some people are very apprehensive of that, even though in the summit we do have at least one presentation on how to write a book. Most often than not, what I've seen from people is that, hey, you know, who am I to write a book? I don't know anything about this. I've just finished my training, or I've been doing coaching, but not as my main business. It's more like a side hustle. And I'm a nobody. I'm someone who doesn't, you know, I still have a lot to learn before I write a book. Which is, well, I always tell people don't write the subject, they write the people don't read the subject, they read the author, so to speak. So
yeah, they want to hear their story, and that's what makes it different, because let's face it, there's very few original themes left out there, if any. You know, it's all regurgitated, but it's your story, it's your spin on it that makes it unique. So who am I to write a book? You're you, and you've got a special message to share. So of course, when you get accredited and certified, you're not going to publish your book next week, but there's no reason why you shouldn't start writing it immediately, thinking, well, who am I writing for? It could be one person. You only have to touch one person's life to create that ripple effect. And what is the pain that I am solving? And how did I go through that experience? Write 1 page a day for 90 days, you've got a book. Now, you might never get round to producing that book. You might condense it into a 12-page report. And it's one of those important touch points that somebody drops their email address into your pipeline database in order to achieve your questionnaire type report. So it is valuable that you start writing ASAP. Seth Godin said, start writing your book three years in advance of, needing your book. So it's a very important part of your sales strategy, your toolkit. So if you can write a shopping list, if you can write a blog, then you can write a book. And there are lots of people like me and other people that I could name out there who will help you do it. But it's another tool that makes a difference. It doesn't have to be, in fact, people don't want War and Peace anymore. They want something light that they can read on the go, put in their pocket, etc. And a little book does that. So I will listen to that podcast that you're going to do, Eugene, on writing a book, because obviously that's one of the subjects I train in. And I feel very passionately that every practitioner should have one and aim to have it within the first year of writing their business. Doesn't mean in 3 years or 10 years time they can't refresh it. They can.
Yeah, for sure. There are people who are not familiar, and that's why I'm asking you now to explain for those who are not familiar with the term CPD or CPA or anything resembling these two initials or whatever you want to call them. So explain to people what are those and why do they matter?
Yeah, CPD is continual professional development. And I think it's a given as to why it would matter. You don't want to stand still, whether you're a chef or whether you're a teacher or whether you're a therapist. Nobody in any profession probably does today what they did 10 years ago. They're continually improving and evolving and being better than they were yesterday. As Pele said, success is no accident. It's about keep investing in yourself, in your industry, and therefore you're providing your clients a better service. Clients are not wanting what you were offering 10 years ago or even last year. They want to know that your communication skills, that your techniques, that your information is up to date. So you owe it to yourself to maintain your CPD. And we have a CPD log, which is complimentary on the IAPC&M website. And we ask you to do at least 30 hours a year, which is very, very little. If you've attended a seminar, you've attended, how many hours are you offering on the summit, Eugene? Probably 20 in a week.
Yeah, something like that. We'll actually have to verify that information and make sure that we are on par, but I think around there somewhere.
Okay. So if one of our members attended the 20 hours on your coaching summit, which I'm sure they will put the 20 hours on their CPD log, and they will list every single hour that they spent with you and your guest speaker, what they learned, what they got out of it, and what difference what gem did they learn that they're going to put into practice. That's all it is. It's not War and Peace. It's input and output. That's what we're measuring. And that's why it's important.
Yeah, for sure. So
and we don't charge for CPD credits. I should say that it's completely free of charge.
So when somebody goes and trains with you, for instance, they then can have those credits as well as part of the bonuses, so to speak, of working with you.
Yeah, so we don't offer any training. We offer master classes by other experienced speakers and trainers. So we are the host. We're plugging that all-important CPD business acumen gap, but it's the other people who are either delivering the training through a masterclass or paid for training. And that is all added to their CPD log. And that helps them when they go up the scale from practitioner to senior to master and so on.
So when does this stop? When does it end? You know, like, is there a point sometime where you say, hey, you know what, I don't need any more, I don't know, CPDs, I don't need any more accreditation? Is there, because for some people it feels like it goes on and on and on and on forever, and like you're never trained enough, so to speak.
Well, let's face it, the people in our industry are perpetual students, aren't they? You know, once they've opened up their mind to learning, they just learn more and want to learn more. So I guess, bearing in mind, we have some VIPs in our membership, very important pensioners who are still working, who are still making a positive difference, who are still paying it forward. The answer is no, it never stops. You know, we're all a work in progress. We're evolving. And as Eileen, the perfectionist coach, would say, you know, there is no such thing. And striving for it is, you know, a road to suffering. Is do what you can, do what you enjoy. It's a bit like Nick Williams, who said, do what you're passionate about, and you'll never work another day in your life. So, you know, for a lot of us, we're doing this from a vocational point of view. So why would we stop? So no, it doesn't end. You just keep going.
Never stop.
I have to say, at fellow level, though, you know, most of the people who are fellows have written books, who have written training programs. They've kind of reached a plateau, and they're delivering everything that they've learned. So we, as an organization, don't have so much to offer them because they are at the top of their tree already. But all of this complementary stuff that we offer is helping the people who aspire to get to the fellows.
Yeah. I got you. Awesome. So where can people get in touch with you? How can they learn more about you and your work, and you know, learn or, you know, get in contact with you?
Yes, well, they can get in touch with me at Dawn at coach-accreditation.services. And they can contact my fellow director, the ops director, who's also head of accreditation at the moment, or they can go to our website. And I should also say that we are the only accreditation body approved by the British Industry Ombudsman. That holds quite a bit of sway with our Northern European clients and our Asian clients. It's quite prestigious. And we're all over social media and obviously the website, and we're celebrating 25 years. So I think we're pretty easy to find, Eugene.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for this presentation and for all of the fantastic information you've shared with us. And I'm looking forward for us to, of course, working together again in the future for other future programs. Dawn, again, thank you so much, and let's keep in touch, and let's make this world a better place by joining hands and joining efforts.
Exactly. Thank you for having me.